I want to ask you to do something a little different with us today.
Mhm.
Usually when we start a deep dive, we're sort of running at full speed, we're tearing into data, we're looking at trends, trying to get you the bottom line as fast as possible.
Right.
But today, well, today requires a different kind of attention.
We are stepping away from the noise of the immediate world. We aren't analyzing a news cycle or a tech breakthrough.
Yeah.
We're looking at a set of excerpts from The Weight of the Watcher, which is a philosophical exploration based on the Brahma Purana.
And because of that, we really need to slow down. The text we have, episode 14, Why Did Preservation Demand Sacrifice? It just isn't asking for a quick read.
No, it's asking for contemplation. It's dense, almost like poetry, but with the weight of law.
Exactly. And it presents us with this central paradox that I think most of us miss because we're just too busy to notice it.
Which is what exactly?
Well, we think of preservation as a static state, you
Right.
know? If I preserve a building, I just keep it standing. If I preserve a memory, I hold on to it. It's passive.
A passive act. We think of it as just keeping things safe.
Right. It feels defensive. Holding pattern. You lock the door, you set the alarm, and you sit back. But this source material argues the exact opposite.
It does. It suggests that to preserve anything, a world, a family, an idea, something had to be given up.
And that's the core of our discussion today, isn't it?
It is. The mission of this deep dive is to answer the question posed right at the start of the text. What did preservation cost the preserver? And the answer, it's not simple.
So let's try to unpack this, not with spreadsheets, but with a bit of introspection. We're talking about weight. We're talking about responsibility.
And we are talking about what the text calls a quiet renunciation. So maybe we should begin with that first chapter of thought, which the text labels the illusion of effortlessness.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. The source opens with a very stark assertion. It just says, preservation was not effortless. Now, I have to be honest. When I hear the watcher or the preserver, my mind goes to a very specific image. Imagine a figure high above the world, maybe on a cloud, just looking.
Peaceful, easy even.
Exactly. And that is the myth the text immediately dismantles. It says quite clearly it required more than awareness.
And that's a key distinction. Mere awareness is passive.
Yeah.
You can be aware of a storm while you're sitting safely behind a window. You see the rain, you hear the thunder, but you aren't wet.
That's not preservation.
No.
So the text is saying there's a difference between watching and what? Guarding.
It's even deeper than guarding. The text breaks this down into a triad of sacrifices.
Yeah.
And I think we need to move through these slowly because they really redefine what it means to keep something alive.
Okay, let's look at the first one. The text says, to watch endlessly is to surrender rest.
And just think about that word, endlessly. To be a preserver is to deny oneself the ability to ever close one's eyes.
In our lives, sleep is our reset. It's the one time we get to put the burden down. Even soldiers on guard duty get relieved.
But this is telling us that true preservation means the burden is never put down. Ever.
That sounds exhausting. I mean, literally. It's the difference between watching a movie and guarding a sleeping child who is sick.
Yes.
One, you can pause. The other requires a continuity of attention that physically hurts after a while.
It is a form of torture, in a way. To never blink. To never look away. It suggests the safety of the world is contingent on your absolute, unbroken attention. If you rest, the thing falls.
Which leads to the second point in that triad. To sustain balance is to accept burden. This one stopped me, because when I think of balance, I think of a scale resting perfectly level. It looks graceful, it looks light.
But look closer at the physics of it. Balance isn't the absence of force.
No, it's the equalization of opposing forces.
Precisely. If you see a dancer holding a difficult pose or a bridge spanning a river, it looks static. But there's immense tension there.
So the text is saying that the preserver is the one feeling that tension.
Exactly. To hold two opposing forces in check, creation and destruction, order and chaos, you have to become the fulcrum. The weight of both sides presses down on you.
So balance isn't peace.
The text wants us to understand that balance isn't peace. It is the perfect, agonizing distribution of weight. You are the thing keeping the roof from crushing the floor.
That changes the image entirely. It's not floating on a cloud, it's bracing against a collapse. But then we get to the third point, and This is the one I struggled with the most.
I think we all do.
It says, to protect without ownership is to renounce self.
This is the most difficult spiritual hurdle in the text.
See, this is where I get stuck. Usually we protect what is ours. I protect my house because I own it. I protect my reputation because it's mine. Ownership is the motivation, right?
It usually is.
So why would you protect something you don't own?
That is the paradox. If you own it, your ego is involved. You are protecting your property, which is, well, it's really just an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
But the text implies the preserver protects creation without owning it.
So it's not about them?
No. It's the definition of true stewardship. To protect something fiercely, to give your rest and your strength to it, while at the same time admitting, this does not belong to me.
That requires a dissolution of the ego.
It does. It requires you to step back even as you step in.
It feels almost contradictory. You have to care enough to die for it, but not enough to claim it.
Precisely. You are the foundation, not the king. And foundations are usually buried. You hold the structure up, but no one sees you, and you own none of the rooms above.
Renounce self. That's such a heavy phrase. It implies that to do this job, you have to become less of a person and more of a force.
Or perhaps you have to become purely functional. Your identity becomes the act of support. Which brings us to the spatial aspect of this. We touched on it a moment ago, the idea of distance.
Right. Chapter 2 of our analysis, the necessity of presence. The text asks if the preserver could just remain distant. Could you send down orders from above? Automate it.
And the answer is a resounding no. The text says he had to enter creation, move within it, absorb its weight.
Absorb its weight. That is such a visceral image. It sounds almost spongy, like the preserver is soaking up the heaviness of the world.
It shatters that image of the distant deity. It suggests that preservation is not a shield held from above. It's not a dome you place over a city.
No, it's a burden carried from within the system. To save the thing, you have to be of the thing.
You do.
But why? Why can't you just protect it from the outside? It seems so much safer that way.
Because of the nature of the threat. If the threat is internal, if the weight is inherent to existence itself, you can't fix it from the outside. Think about helping a friend through deep grief. You can't do that with a text message from 1,000 miles away. You can't fix it with logic.
No, you have to go there. You have to sit in the room with them.
And when you sit in that room, what happens to you?
You feel it. The room feels heavy. You leave feeling drained. You absorb some of it.
That is the parallel. The text connects this explicitly to loss. It says, preservation demanded presence, and presence demanded loss.
What's being lost there? Is it just energy?
I think it's the immunity of distance. When you're far away, you're immune to the immediate suffering, the gravity of a situation. You're safe.
And the moment you enter creation, as the text says,
You surrender that immunity. You are now subject to the same gravity as the thing you are trying to hold up. You become vulnerable.
So vulnerability isn't a weakness here. It's a prerequisite. You can't be safe and be a savior at the same time.
Precisely. You cannot stay clean if your job is to hold back the mud. If you want to stop the flood, you have to get wet. There is no